What if I told you that most people don't get into danger suddenly? They walk into it not because they're careless, not because they're weak, but because they never saw it coming. Spies don't survive because they fight better. They survive because they notice earlier. And today, I'm going to teach you how real intelligence professionals actually think. Not movie spies, not action heroes, but real operatives trained to stay alive in unpredictable environments. You won't need weapons. You won't break any laws. All you need is your mind, because once you learn how to see the world like a spy, your daily life will never feel the same again. Let's get one thing clear. Real spies are boring. They don't chase cars. They don't fight 5 people at once. They don't take risks for their ego. Their mindset is simple. The best danger is the one you avoid completely. Spies are trained to think in probabilities, not emotions. Most people ask, is this dangerous? But spies ask, what could go wrong here? And how early can I detect it? That single difference saves lives. You might be thinking, I'm not a spy. Why does this matter to me? Well, you might be a student commuting daily, a working professional traveling for work, or just someone using ride apps, public transport, cafes, or malls. You don't need secret missions to face risk. Risk exists in unfamiliar environments, in our predictable routines, and especially in overconfidence and distraction. Spies train to reduce uncertainty in their world, and you can do the same in yours. If spies had one superpower, this would be it: situational awareness. This just means knowing where you are, knowing what's normal for that place, and noticing what doesn't belong. Most people think awareness means being paranoid. It absolutely doesn't. Paranoia imagines threats that aren't there. Awareness simply detects patterns that are. Let me give you a simple spy exercise you can do daily. The next time you enter any place, a cafe, an office, a bus, a mall, silently answer 3 questions. 1. Where are the exits? 2. Who or what looks out of place? And 3. What would I do if something went wrong right now? This takes 5 seconds. That's it. Spies do this automatically, and with a little practice, you can too. So why does this actually work? Well, the human brain is designed to filter information to save energy. It's a survival mechanism from our past. But today, it's why people can miss obvious danger right in front of them. They're on autopilot. Spies train their brains to fight against this by actively scanning, staying mentally present, and avoiding that autopilot mode. Most incidents happen when people are tired, distracted, or just scrolling on their phones. This simple awareness exercise pulls you out of that danger zone and puts you back in control. Now, let's talk about something a bit uncomfortable, but incredibly important: the don't look like a victim rule. Criminals and predators don't choose their targets randomly. They select them based on perceived vulnerability, your body language, your level of awareness, and your confidence. Spies are trained to never, ever broadcast vulnerability. Here's a quick body language checklist spies use. When you're walking, keep your head up, your eyes forward, and walk with a natural, steady pace. And please, put your phone away. When you're standing still, maintain a balanced posture. Keep your shoulders relaxed and breathe calmly. The key here is this: even if you're lost, never look lost. Confidence is a powerful deterrent. Let's paint a real-life scenario. You're leaving work late, and the street is quiet. The average person might pull out their phone to check directions. Head down, looking nervous, maybe walking a little too fast or too slow. A spy wouldn't do that. They would have memorized the directions before stepping outside. They'd walk with intent and purpose, their head up, aware of their surroundings. This simple change in behavior alone reduces your risk dramatically. It signals to anyone watching that you are not an easy target. Next, let's get into how spies read people. It's not about looking for nervous people. It's about looking for changes in what we call baseline behavior. Baseline behavior simply means How does this person normally act in this situation? Deception and hidden intent reveal themselves through deviation from that baseline, not just through general anxiety. After all, anyone can be nervous for 100 innocent reasons. So, what are some common red flags to look for? Sudden, over-the-top friendliness from a stranger. A forced sense of calm in a tense situation. Someone over-explaining simple things. Or a big one. Someone who seems more interested in watching your reaction than actually listening to what you're re-saying. Spies observe people before they engage. You should too. This isn't just for spotting criminals on the street. It has powerful applications in your workplace and social life. In a meeting, who speaks confidently but consistently avoids specifics. Who completely changes their tone or body language when questioned. Or think about dating apps. Are their details inconsistent? Are they trying to rush trust building? You're not being judgmental or cynical. You are simply observing the data in front of you. Another core skill is mental mapping. This is about thinking 2 steps ahead. Spies constantly create mental maps, not just of physical locations, but of situations. They are always asking, if X happens, what's my move? If my first plan fails, what's my exit? My backup plan. You can use this every single day. When you're in a restaurant, take a second to note the exit locations, the positioning of your table relative to the room, and the density of the crowd. On public transport, where are the doors? How far is the platform edge? What are my potential escape routes if this train car becomes a problem? This isn't about living in fear. It's about being prepared. And here's the secret. Prepared people stay calm. The brain panics when it has no plan. When it feels trapped, but even a very simple plan, like if there's trouble, I'll move toward that exit, drastically reduces fear and allows you to think clearly. That's why spies and other trained professionals stay calm under immense pressure. They've already done the thinking ahead of time. So let's quickly bust a myth. Movies teach us that spies fight first, talk tough, and take huge risks. The reality for intelligence professionals is the exact opposite. They avoid attention, they leave early, and they strive to remain invisible. Spies don't win by confrontation. They win by not being noticed in the first place. Everything you've learned so far is about seeing the world differently. It's about shifting from being a passive passenger in your life to an active observer. But awareness alone isn't enough. Everything you learned in school was about seeing, but seeing alone is not enough, because danger rarely announces itself. It doesn't shout, it doesn't run toward you. Real danger blends in, and that is where spy psychology begins. Spies are trained not to look for danger itself, but for the conditions that allow danger to exist. This will change how you understand people, environments, patterns, and even your own habits. Once you learn this, you won't just feel safer, you'll feel in control. Let's start with a hard truth. Most people don't miss danger because they are careless. They miss it because their brain is designed to ignore it. The human brain loves familiarity, routine, and comfort. Spies are trained to fight this instinct. A normal brain says, nothing bad has happened before, so nothing will happen now. But a spy brain says, just because nothing happened before doesn't mean it can't happen now. This isn't fear. This is probability thinking. Here's a real-life example you can probably relate to. You take the same route to work every day. Same bus, same stop, same time. One day, a person is standing near your stop. The next day, you see the same person there again. The third day, same thing, same timing. Most people would ignore it. A spy doesn't. Not because they assume it's dangerous, but because repetition without a clear explanation creates risk. This brings us to pattern recognition, the most powerful spy skill. Spies are not trained to react fast. They are trained to notice early. Pattern recognition means separating coincidence from repetition, understanding what normal looks like, and detecting subtle deviations. A coincidence happens once. A pattern repeats, and threats almost always form patterns before they strike. Here's a practical daily exercise you can start today. For 1 week, do this. Notice who you see repeatedly on your commute or near your home. Notice vehicles that appear more than once in different locations. Notice messages, calls, or emails that repeat the same theme or request. You're not judging. You're just collecting data. That's how a spy thinks. Now, let's talk about counter-surveillance, but without any fancy gadgets. You don't need spy tools, just need behavioral awareness. Spies are trained to constantly answer one question. Am I being observed? You should learn this too. Some classic surveillance behaviors include seeing someone appear in multiple unrelated locations you visit, or a person mirroring your movements. If you speed up, they speed up. You might notice a vehicle that repeatedly slows down as it passes you, or someone who seems to be watching entrances and exits instead of the people or activity inside. Here's a simple spy test you can use. Change something small about your routine. Suddenly change direction while you're walking. Pause for a moment to tie your shoe. Enter a shop and observe the reactions of those around you. If the same person who's been on your radar reacts to your change, that's not a coincidence. That's confirmation. Next, let's dive into human behavior and how spies read people. Spies don't look for nervous people. They look for inconsistent people. This is about establishing a baseline. A baseline is how a person acts when they're relaxed and comfortable, how they speak, how they move when not under pressure. Deception creates leakage from this baseline. The real signs of deception are not what you see in the movies. Look for someone who over-explains simple things or shows forced politeness that doesn't match the situation. Listen for sudden shifts in their tone of voice, or if they start answering your questions with other questions. A key tell is when they seem more focused on watching your reaction than on actually responding to you. You can apply this at work. In meetings, notice if someone consistently avoids giving specific details, or if their tone changes when they're questioned about their work. They might speak with a lot of confidence, but provide no real substance to back it up. A spy doesn't accuse. They observe, verify, and, if needed, create distance. Spies don't just read people, they read spaces. This is environmental psychology. Every environment creates blind spots, pressure points, and escape routes. Common high-risk environments include crowded public transport, poorly lit streets, entry-exit choke points like single doorways, and loud, distracting places. Spies are trained to avoid being trapped, cornered, or distracted. So, get into this everyday practice. When you enter any space, ask yourself, where could panic occur? Where is visibility low? Where is my movement restricted? This simple habit turns a chaotic environment into a structured, understandable space. Now for a weakness we all have: predictability. Spies hate routines. Why? Because a routine creates predictable timelines, expectations, and vulnerabilities. Think about it. Sitting in the same seat at the same cafe every morning, going to the gym at the exact same time, taking the same commute, day in and day out, posting your social media updates on a regular schedule. Predictability makes life easy, and it also makes it easier for danger to find you. The #1 spy rule is this: if someone can predict your movement, they can plan against you. You don't need to live in chaos. Just introduce some variation. Change your timing. Take a different route. Sit in a new spot. In the modern world, surveillance is also digital. Spies treat the internet as both a tool and a threat. You should too. People give away their entire lives online without a second thought, posting real-time locations, having predictable online routines, sharing personal details in public comments, and keeping profiles wide open. Criminals and other threats don't always hack you first. They observe you first. So, practice practical digital defense. Delay posting your locations until after you've left. Lock down your privacy settings. Always verify strange links and messages before clicking, and try to separate your work and personal online presence. Information control equals safety. All of this training is useless without emotional regulation. Spies train to control their stress and fear more than anything else. Fear causes tunnel vision, poor decisions, and the freeze response. Here's a simple breathing technique to practice. Inhale for a count of 4, hold your breath for a count of 4, and then exhale slowly for a count of 6. This simple exercise slows down your nervous system. Calm people see options. Panicked people only see walls. This brings us to the gray man principle. The goal of a spy is to blend in, not to stand out. Not to impress anyone, just to exist unnoticed. In your everyday life, this means wearing neutral clothing, maintaining calm and composed behavior, and not drawing unnecessary attention to yourself. Being invisible is a form of power. So, let's combine everything into the spy thinking loop. It's a simple process that runs constantly in a spy's mind. 1. Observe your surroundings. 2. Compare what you see to the established baseline. 3. Predict potential outcomes based on any anomalies. 4. Prepare a mental plan of action. And 5. Exit early if the risk feels too high. You can train this loop until it becomes second nature. Now you understand why danger hides in plain sight, how patterns can reveal threats, how people leak their true intentions, how environments shape risk, and how staying calm keeps you alive. But knowledge alone is not survival. We'll cover real-life emergency scenarios, how spies react when things go wrong, and practical drills you can train daily to turn this awareness into instinct. Because when danger finally shows itself, there is no time to think. When danger finally shows itself, there is no time to think. There is only training. Everything you've learned was just preparation. Awareness, pattern recognition, understanding human behavior. But now, we move into the phase that separates theory from survival. This is where spies are tested. This is where most people freeze. And this is where the smallest decisions create the biggest consequences. There's a moment, sometimes only a second long, when your brain realizes something is wrong. For most people, this moment is followed by denial. They think, I'm overthinking it, or it's probably nothing. Spies are trained to do the opposite. They respect that moment, because your intuition isn't magic. It's your brain processing information faster than your conscious mind. Imagine this. You're on a bus or a train. Someone gets on and stands unusually close, even though there are seats available. They're not looking at their phone. They're scanning the area. Most people would ignore it. A spy doesn't panic, but they reposition. They create space. They check for the exits. They prepare mentally. There's no confrontation, no drama, just readiness. Now, let's talk about the freeze response. Most people assume they'll either fight or run when faced with danger, but psychology shows something else entirely. When untrained, humans often freeze. We hesitate. We look to others for cues on what to do. Spies train specifically to break this instinct. How? They don't wait for absolute clarity. They act on probability, not certainty. They ask themselves, what is the safest move I can make right now? Not what is actually happening. That single difference saves lives. So, for you, the practical application is this. If something feels wrong, create distance. Move toward an exit. Remove yourself from the situation early. Leaving early isn't weakness, it's intelligence. This brings us to exit psychology. Spies rarely stay until a situation escalates. They leave before the panic, before the chaos, and before they become the center of attention. This is called early disengagement. You can apply this in your daily life. Leaving a party that feels tense, exiting a store when an argument breaks out, or even just ending a conversation that feels invasive. You don't owe anyone an explanation. Spies value self-preservation over politeness. But what if you can't just leave? Movies teach us to run. Spies teach us to move intelligently. Running draws attention, creates panic, and causes mistakes. Spies prefer controlled, purposeful movement, blending into the flow of people. Walk with intent. Change your direction naturally. Use obstacles and crowds as buffers. Calm movement confuses threats, while panic just makes you an obvious target. Speaking of crowds, they can feel safe, but they can also be a trap. Crowds can restrict your movement and hide threats. So, spies have rules for crowds. Always stay near the edges, not in the center. Avoid bottlenecks like narrow doorways or hallways. Keep a clear line of sight to your exits at all times. And if panic does start, move diagonally against the flow, not directly against it. Protect your head and chest, and whatever you do, do not fall. Awareness in a crowd is a lifesaver. Now, one of the most dangerous moments is when you realize you've been singled out. Spies are trained to detect this early. The signs can be subtle. Someone mirroring your movements, someone repeatedly invading your personal space, someone trying to isolate you, either physically or verbally, or someone pressuring you to act quickly. Remember, urgency is a manipulation tool. Your response. Slow the interaction down. Create physical space. If you can, move toward a more populated, well-lit area. Bring other people into your visibility. Isolation creates vulnerability, but visibility creates safety. In our modern world, threats often start online. Spies take digital dangers very seriously because they escalate quietly. They're used to collect information, and they create real-world access points. The warning signs are similar: requests for urgency, emotional manipulation, asking for personal information, or trying to move the conversation off a secure platform quickly. The spy's response is always the same: disengage early, stop responding, document the interaction, block and report, and strengthen your privacy settings. Online danger is real danger. It's just delayed. When stress spikes, your ability to make good decisions plummets. Spies counter this biologically with tactical breathing. It's simple. Inhale for a count of 4, hold your breath for 4, and then exhale slowly for a count of 6. Repeating this lowers your heart rate and restores cognitive control, preventing you from making a decision based on panic. Breathing isn't just about relaxation, it's about control. After an incident is over, spies don't just forget about it. They analyze it, not emotionally, but logically. They conduct a self-debrief. They ask, what did I notice early? What did I miss? What action worked? And what will I adjust for next time? This is how they turn a scary experience into invaluable training. Most people just want to move on. Spies evolve. Ultimately, these skills need to become habits. Awareness must become automatic. Spies don't try to be alert, they live alert. You can build this with daily micro-training. When you enter a room, scan for the exits. Observe the behavior of people around you. Reduce your own predictability by varying your routes. Control what information you share. Small habits like these compound over time into powerful survival instincts. The full spy framework is actually quite simple. It's a system: awareness, pattern recognition, behavioral analysis, environmental reading, a calm response, and an early exit. You see, you don't need courage, you need clarity. And here's the final reality check. Spies are not fearless. They are prepared. They don't go looking for danger. They are masters at avoiding it. They're not trying to prove their strength. They're focused on protecting their life. You don't need a badge, you don't need a weapon, and you don't need anyone's permission. You only need to pay attention, trust the patterns you see, respect your intuition, and act early. Because the most powerful spy tactic isn't aggression, it is awareness. And awareness saves lives. This video is for educational and personal safety awareness purposes only. It does not encourage illegal activity or impersonation of intelligence agencies. All methods are based on public principles of behavioral psychology and risk prevention. Please use this information responsibly and within the law. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there